Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on the ICC. I'm going to observe a game that's going on, a 5-minute game between these guys, Zillik and Ikaban, two 2100s, and White is going to be looking to get in this e4 advance. Black, of course, ready to go with that c5 move. Otherwise, rook c8 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So these are the two different pawn breaks to look into. Okay, so just prepping this e4 advance, just like Black was prepping this c5 advance. And now the queen is in a little bit of an uncomfortable spot, and sure enough, we're seeing this in-between shot taking first on this square. So there is a potential structural change, and that's what we do have with e. White has to do something, I believe, to crack at this structure. If this guy is around, I think it's just going to turn out to be bad news. So I'm thinking about e3 right here. Black looks to now be in good shape with just these last couple of moves. And this is certainly a very weak point. If this bishop is never around, you can already start to see a rook maybe pivoting on c3, and knight would probably be the most deadly of the two. So this pawn is being hit for a second time, but what about just knight takes here? Well, we also have knight d6, and that's what we're going to have. So a change of events. There could be some light square issues. This knight just one moment away from jumping into c3. So this is what we'll have, the rook being on that same diagonal as the bishop. And wow, what a turn of events. Okay, so Black is, instead of opening themselves up for some tactical issue along this light square diagonal, giving up the exchange, and still has this stronghold in the center. So I still think that you have to try and break this down at some point with something like e3, and then the bishop is at least there to put direct pressure on e5. But we'll see how things turn out. White is, of course, now the side that's welcome to more pawn exchanges. The more pawn exchanges, the more open files. So knight g5 now, knight g5. Okay, it is being played. Knight g5 to here, but I think it might run the risk of just expansion with f5, and then, you know, just a tsunami of pawns, really. Okay, and we could be having that. Sure enough, we do. Okay, f5, and well, if this pawn is allowed to move, this knight is going to be a giant pest. This is what we're going to have with e4. The bishop is shut down, and the bishop on g7 is indirectly controlling c3. Okay, so he's out of the game. This knight is going to be jumping in here, and this is going to be a passed pawn that is very, very deep in the white position. So white has to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm assuming e3, and now the bishop will reroute to this f1 to c4 diagonal. What else could we have? Rook takes, queen takes, the rook comes over. Just stay active. Queen c7, I guess getting this pawn involved. Or, actually, okay, bishop here looking for this square. That can't be allowed. Bishop f1 to neutralize this. I was saying maybe h5 so that if there is a check on the back rank that you could have king to h7. But what do you do about this pawn? Okay, there we go with that h5. Okay, h4 to not allow this h4 advance by Black. That pawn could maybe turn out to be troublesome. Maybe even going to h3, and then if you ever get that h2 pawn, that Black pawn would be passed on the h-file. So Black is looking for a change of guard, let's say, with the c3 pawn, wanting a pawn to watch over a pawn, and then this bishop, I guess, is free to do something else. However, I don't know what that something else would be. This is just a prep move, getting the king off of the back rank. We're really at a standstill here. How about getting the rook somewhere to the 7th? Okay, something has to be done about this a3 pawn. If a4, we're going to see b4 immediately. Is there a way to get this rook active? I think if white can get this rook behind this pawn and then get the queen active on these the 7th and 8th ranks, then white is going to actually turn out to be a bit better. So have to be quite careful. Although, you know what? I'm seeing a way that this king could just camp out on h6, and what did we just have there? Oh, man. My eyes gravitated towards the king side there for a second, and oh, man. What just happened there? Don't tell me a mouse slip. Oh, man. Okay, well, there you have it. The first game that I tried to kibitz. on the ICC, and sometimes it just ends up with a deadly mouse slip. Who could relate to that? I know I can. Okay, well, I'm going to still put this one up, even though it didn't end so great. That was exciting, and until that A4 move. What can you do? Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you got something out of it, despite that silly little mouse slip there at the end. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.